It's me, Cathy Grant, and this is Reignite. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have a treat for you today. You are going to love this guy. We've just been chatting before we come on air. We're going to have some fun today. So I'd be amazed if you hadn't actually come across him already, because when he's not hosting his radio show, he's out performing live. He's bringing out new music, so he's recording, writing books. He's here, there, and everywhere. So we are so lucky to have him here today. Grab your cup of coffee, sit back, relax, and together, let's meet the amazing Griffiths.
Ah, and as if by magic, Griffiths appeared.
There he is!
Not that I was ever doubting the great Ashley Grant's technical skills, but we are here live on air. It's not like I can tell you or anything. Look, hang on a minute. Now you'll see my hand should come through there. Hello, Cathy. How are you, my darling?
I am very well, my sweetheart. It is so lovely to have you here. And I've seen we've got people joining us live in the chat already. I've seen Paul joining us from the States. We've got Danielle joining us from Dublin, Lion joining us from the UK, Anders joining us from Sweden. My God, Griff, you're international this afternoon.
Right, international rescue. How's that? Cathy, it's an absolute honour and a pleasure that you've invited me on. Now, I've been following your podcast for a long time. Lots of the guests I know, some of them I don't. I was watching the great Roger Deary from Crime Wave, the last episode, and I've had Ashley on my show, and it's an honour to be joining you. I thank you so much indeed.
Oh, bless you. I'll tell you, the honour is ours, because if you guys have not listened to one of Griff's shows, he hosts some amazing radio shows. They are so much fun, and it's like having your mate in the house having a chat with you, listening to him.
Yeah, even though I say it myself, I do enjoy it on the show, and everybody that comes on seems to have a brilliant time. I think it comes from the fact that I've been a performer my whole life, Cathy. You know, I was a professional comedian for 5 years. I've been playing drums and making records since I was 14 and a half. I like things that are sort of happy and fun. I can't help that. People say that my energy is a bit boundless, but I will sleep all night long after I've done this.
Really? I always say I'll sleep when I'm dead.
I'm very, very busy at the minute because, you know, I've got this new record coming out, and this evening I'm comparing it to the great Smiley Barnard. Smiley, your heads are calling off. Smiley Barnard's album launch. I'm comparing there tonight with Michele with 1L down in Guildford. So I'll be very, very busy. But, you know, make hay while the sun shines. You've only got one life and all that nonsense.
Exactly. I mean, what you do with your radio show in some small way we do here on Reignite, because that's what I say, we don't do anything controversial, we don't do politics, religion, any of the stuff that gets people's back up. This is just an area for us to learn about people that people might not otherwise have seen, but to have some damn good fun and a bit of a laugh and cheer people up on a Friday afternoon.
Cathy, I make an absolute, a definite. My choice of mine is to not go down that political or religious route, because it could split a room. You know what it's like when you're a professional comedian. You don't want to do that. You want people on your side, and you can have a great 2-hour chat or an hour chat, however long it is, without talking about some kind of political agenda. I don't need that in my life. Do you?
No, not at all. I love the way you just said 2-hour chat. As always, everyone, we plan to keep the show to an hour, but we all know that's not going to happen.
Listen, I've timed myself for you an hour, and I've seen you go over. In fact, the great Roger Deary had to disappear from the toilet halfway through.
Bless him. Oh, can I just say, I just saw a name pop up on screen, and that was Belen, who is joining us from Argentina. We're everywhere today, Griff.
How are you, Bella? Argentina. Yeah. Have you been to all these places? I'm quite widely travelled. I've been to all these places, beautiful places.
Oh, well, I've been to some places, but I'm a bit obsessed with going to Las Vegas. So we don't start me down that route. I'm off there again in 2 weeks. I'm always going there, but I've travelled a bit. But are
you a gambler? Are you a gambler, Cathy?
A little bit. Just a touch. I like me old slot machines. That's it. You go there, you play your slot machines, you get your free cocktails, and you have a bit of a laugh, and you don't go to bed. That's what I like about it.
I love that. That's my motto in life, apart from the slot machines. But isn't it
really?
true? Isn't it true that life is going so fast? You know, I mean, I don't know where this year's gone. And when I say this to myself, my dad was 89. They're listening downstairs right now. My mum's 88. My dad's 89. And he's still. Yeah. I think I was telling you, actually, he fell over and he busted his nose. He's got 7 stitches in his head.
Bless him. How's he doing? Is he all right?
He's okay. Yeah, he's a fighter. They're that generation. They're much harder than the last generation, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
You know, but he says to me, get out there and embrace life, kid, because before you know it, I mean, I don't know where these weeks are going, Cathy. They're just flying. And it doesn't matter how busy you are or how much you achieve in that week. It's just bang, 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 and it's gone.
Yeah, I know. It just, life is speeding up, isn't it? That's what I was, and I think that was one of the good things. Though obviously it's the bad things about COVID, but that was one of the good things, that you suddenly realised to yourself all the things that you want to do that you used to say, oh, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't, I'll put it off. You don't know when something like that's going to happen. So if you get a chance to go out and see a band, or listen to a great podcast, or listen to a good radio show, or go travelling, whatever it is, you've got to do it, because you don't know what's coming next. So grab it while you can.
Cathy, I've always been a great believer. Every idea I've pursued, every idea through business, every idea through my art, every idea through my music, I've pursued. Some of those successfully, some of those not so. But I didn't want to be that person that was on my deathbed saying, I wish I'd done that. I've had a go. Give it a go, man. Just, you know, what could possibly go? And it puts it all into perspective, Cathy. I won't go on about this, but when my dad fell over and I thought, God, this is... I thought I was losing him 2 days ago. I really did. He's downstairs now. He's fine. But everything puts it into perspective. It puts it all into perspective about, you know, life's just get out there and have some fun with it. You know, don't hurt anybody and get out there and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I know. We worry too much about the small stuff, and like you just about to say, like, oh, what's the worst that can happen? And sometimes people think, well, I won't do that because something could go wrong. So what? Like, we could be halfway through this, and there's a thunderstorm, and our feed cuts out, and you're sitting there on your own talking to a screen, or I am. If it happens, it happens. So what? We don't care. We don't care.
I had, as a good friend of mine, a chap called Riff from a band called The Dark. They had a big hit back in the 80s, I think, with Hawaii 5-0. Now, when he was on my show, everything went tits up. And he just said, no surrender, Griff, because I was panicking and shouting. He said, no surrender. It's the aliens. And we worked through it, and we got there. Said, no surrender. Don't surrender, guys. That's my motto in life. Keep it going.
I like that. We'll have that as our strap line. No surrender. So here we go then. We've got you here. We're already going off down rabbit holes, going all over the place. But what I want to know, you're this amazing DJ now, amazing musician, and you've written your book, which we're going to come to because it's an incredible book, and we'll tell everyone where they can get it because they need to read it. But Griffiths, what I want to know from you, my friend, how did it all begin? Way back, through the mist of time. How did you get involved in music? That's what I want to know.
Now, let me just tell you this. I'm featured in this month's Viva La Rock magazine, Cathy. There's a big feature of me, and it says, who is Griffiths? Now, that is a question I've been asking myself for 50 years. I've got no idea. My musical career started when my mum and dad bought me a drum kit when I was 10. And there were no such things as electric drum kits then. So if you were playing, you had to play between, because on the estate there, you had to play between certain times. Otherwise, everyone gets upset with you. So I started playing drums at the age of 10. And then my elder brother, took me to see at the Great Greyhound down there in Croydon, run by our mate Peter Fox. So he went to see a band called The Jam. And I was only 14. And I thought, I've got to get this. I've got to do this. So I started playing in a band. And one thing led to another. I joined this band they were called Bliss, and then they became the Bad Actors. Now, we were quite big in that punk scene back in 78. I think Ashley's even come to see us back in the day at Dingwalls, I think he remembers. And we had a couple of singles out there, and the ball just started rolling from there. I was a professional musician for 30 odd years. I was a professional comedian. I got out of the music industry for a while because I was quite disillusioned with the whole music. It happens sometimes. But then I got back into it, and I've been playing in cover bands, and now I had a book. I'm going too fast for you, but it's all started back when I was 10. My mum and dad bought me a drum kit when I was 10.
10, blimey. And did you teach yourself? You take any lessons, or you just taught yourself?
I had one lesson, and there was a chap who was, God bless him, it wasn't really for me. He was learning how to read, and I'm not that sort of bloke. I learned to play by getting me on my granddad's old record player and putting on albums, you know. And one of my favourite drummers to play along to was Mark Laff from Generation X. I don't know if you've had him on the show, but he's been on my show.
Yet.
You know, and it was playing from that rock sort of stuff. But I got in that first band, and I was always the youngest member in the band. You know, we couldn't get a gig because we had a residency at a place called the Castle in Tooting. And every Saturday they would throw me out because I was only 15. But, you know, you have to start somewhere. I don't know how the kids of today to start, Cathy, because we would go to a local music shop called Rock Bottom, which is still there in Croydon. And on a Saturday, you could form a band. I'd go in there and start playing drums. Someone would pick up a bass, and all the kids would form a band. How do they do it nowadays? Because there's no retail. I don't know.
No.
It's a different world now. But, you know, I'm pleased that I started playing drums. I started playing the keyboards at first. Keyboards and guitar, but I got hit by a car, and I went through the windscreen of the car, and he got run over by the same car twice actually, and he messed my arm up, and only two of my fingers work on my left hand, so that's why I used to sellotape the drumstick in. But it kept me going really. I had about 6 months of school, and they were talking about taking my arm off at one point because back in I was 15, I suppose. There was the technology to repair medical stuff wasn't the same as it is today. But yeah, that's how it all started, and I've been playing drums for forever.
Flipping hell, right? Yeah, I saw that's one of the stories in your book about getting run over twice by the same car. So I was going to ask you that. So now we know. That is damn unlucky. Just explain how did that happen? What, he hit you, swung around, and came back and had another go? What's going on there?
Like what happened was we were all pissed, and we were young. We was like, you remember when back in the day you could go into a pub, there was no ID, there was nothing like that, and everyone from our school, all the kids were getting pissed and going into pubs. They were younger, so we built a big bonfire in the garden, and we all went down to it was night before bonfire night to just have a few beers. Myself, my older brother, loads of my friends. The oldest one was about 17, and we were coming back from the pub called the Stag and Hounds, which is no longer there. And I just remember being drunk, and I remember being in the road and jumping this way, hearing this screech. Apparently, I went through the windscreen, bounced off the front seat, and as we went to swerve to miss me, he hit me the second time on the way out. So I was hit by the same car. Yeah,
bloody hell.
All of my friends that were there, Cathy, they saw me. It was, you know, that scene in films when it all goes into slow motion. And that's exactly how it was. I was flying through the air. I wasn't due to die because I didn't see any tunnel or lights at the end of it. Yeah, I was all in slow motion. Yeah, and then bang, I go again. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that was that. Yeah. So
I was going to say, I shouldn't actually be laughing, should I? Because you said you nearly lost your hand and your fingers don't work. So what the bloody hell am I doing laughing? What a bastard.
This isn't a joke. This is my life you're laughing at. You terrible person.
I'm dreadful. I'm a horrible, horrible person.
When I see the Reignite podcast, you're usually nice to the people. Why are you having a go at me? What are you doing? You're making an exception today. Let's have a laugh. It is. Hey, don't mock me. Oh, it's my mate. You're mocked.
Oh, bless you. Well, the thing is, I can laugh because you're still here. That's the main thing. That's the most important thing. You're still here.
The drumming really kept me going because I missed loads of schooling, but I used to sellotape the drumstick in because I couldn't hold it, and in some kind of way that was almost like therapy for me. And I just carried on playing. One thing led to another, and I think I had my first record out when I was still at school. And it was a classic thing, you know. I was just a normal kid at school. None of the girls really fancied me. And as soon as they see your picture in Sounds or NME, like where Ashley used to work, or Melody Maker, all the girls were all over you.
Yeah. Yeah, the fame factor.
Yeah, it doesn't happen so much now. Look, I've got no hair or anything. Look, it doesn't happen so much now.
Hey, you're all right with Michele with one L. You're a happy bunny with her.
I think she's listening as well. She should be listening live now. Hello, Michele with one L.
Hello, Michele with one L. If anyone doesn't know, we will get onto the radio show in a minute, but Michele with one L is Griff's co-host and partner in life, and a lovely, lovely lady to boot. And also on the Christmas single. But we'll get back to that. We'll come back to the hit Christmas song with Michele with 1L. I just knew we were going to start going off in all different bloody directions. Blame me. It's my fault.
If I go off into verbal orbit, you'll have to bring me that down again. You have to shoot a rocket at me.
Do you know what? We'll both do it. We'll have to get Ashley on to sort us both out, I reckon. We're doomed, mate.
Oh, we are.
Could happen.
Oh, look out. He's lurking. We're in trouble.
Is he like that constantly over your shoulder? If you say something wrong, he disappears. What are you doing?
There'll be a rolled up ball of paper bouncing off my head in a
Cathy, what is it like having a project like this with your good lady, well, with your good husband? Is it a good thing? Do you bounce ideas off each other?
I think we do. I think, yeah, constantly. And I'm the best part is I'm crap with technology, as we've spoken about before. So he could do all the nice technical side of things, and I'll just go, "Hello, I'm here." So I enjoy that part.
You can't be good at everything, can you? You can't be good at everything. Now, my late brother, he was an absolute. He had the brain of a genius. Now he would learn a language and know it immediately. You know, he could count, but he couldn't ride a bike. Do you know what I mean? He was like, he couldn't rewire a plug. He couldn't paint a picture, but Christ, he knew how to count. You know, that's where his forte was.
Yeah, we've all got our talents, haven't we? That's the thing. I'm still waiting to find what mine is. I think it might be talking, but I don't know.
Well, I can vouch for that. Yeah, you're doing all right. You're doing okay.
Thanks, mate. So let's go try and get a little bit back on track. So there you are with your drum kit, with your sellotape drumsticks on your damaged hand. Poor Griff, we're very sorry for him, and we won't laugh or make a mockery out of that. Too late. And then you're in bands, and then you're getting all this attention from the females. How do we transition from that? Obviously, you've got disillusioned. You went out of the world of music. You've come back in as a DJ. So how did the path to becoming a DJ? Because I know in between this, if I just tell people, just referring over to my notes, that some of Griff's jobs as car dealer, market trader, artist, comedian, model. Now, are there any of those, before we move on to DJ, that you would like to expand upon, perhaps, Griff, particularly the model part?
Well, here's the thing. Right now, I was a professional musician. I made loads. I was signed to Arista and Ireland. We had loads and loads of records out. I think we had a top 40 in the UK and other European countries. But I was professional. But I got out of the music industry and I became. I was a gilder. I'll talk to you about the modelling. Right, this is the modelling thing. Now, I was a professional comedian, okay, and I'd done 3 Edinburgh shows. I must have done 2,500 live shows. And I went out as the King of Spain. And we'll talk about that later. But I was doing a gig, and this fellow there was there with 2 or 3 members of this band. And they said, "We want you to be in our video." Now, when you're performing on stage, Cathy, you get that sort of stuff all the time. Loads of people say, "Oh, I've got an idea," but nothing ever happens. So I said, "Yes," I'll give them a card. And I ended up being, this band were a band called Hard-Fi. Do you remember Hard-Fi?
I'm looking across there for somebody's nodding at me. He knows.
They had a couple of massive hits, I think, in Japan and a few other places. But I was in their video for Cash Machine, right? So it's a great song. This is going back 25 years. And when I was on the video shoot, this fella came up and said, "Oh, will you join my agency, the modelling agency?" So I was quite chuffed. I said yes. So they were called the Uglies, right? The Uglies. So I had a card. Yes, I had all these cards they made for me. Saying, yes, I was one of the Uglies, and I was on a Bird's Eye frozen meals for the new. They were trying to make me the new face of Captain Birdseye. And I was on these frozen meals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was in Farmers Weekly for about 7 months every week. Pesticide. Yes. So when I was modeling, I was my shirt off, like drinking a wine. And hey, I'm Griffiths. I was selling pesticide. Yeah, but yes, I ended up being in the video for Cash Machine by a band called Hard-Fi. Now they're a brilliant band. I think they've just reformed. Yeah, Griff. Yeah, actually, the card said Griffiths is ugly. What am I meant to do with that?
I was just wondering, when you said you were in Farming Weekly, you said you were dressed as a giant turnip for 8 weeks or something. I didn't know where that was going then.
I was dressed up as a farmer, and I had to hold up these things that said 9 and 9. And every week they take a different picture in a different farm. I mean, rock and roll, eh? I'd hit the big time.
Hey. Did I just see a comment? I just saw a comment come up there from Michele with one L. I'm sure I did. I missed that. Do you know what that comment was? What was she saying there? I think she said something about you being hard to handle. Was that? Yeah, hard to handle. The great interrupter. Yeah, I think we're as bad as each other, Michele. Thank you for being here, Michele with one L. That's very important, Michele with one L. Who we will talk about in a minute about the Christmas song. We will.
Yes,
we will.
I had a girl called Gisela May. She's an absolutely brilliant songwriter. She's now the female bass player in a band called Red Anger. Now, we do a joint show every now and then together, which is great because she's got a great taste in music. Now, she called me the Great Interrupter. And since then, that's kind of that mantle's taken off. There's been all these T-shirts made that people are selling. I am the Great Interrupter. How does that come about?
It's hard. See, I'm doing it to you because you're talking and you think, oh, and you're trying to hold yourself back and not butt in. And it's not easy, is it?
Especially when you've got live radio. Now, this isn't too bad because we can see each other. But when you've got live radio, now, if there's a pause, whether it be Rob Davies from Mud or Chesney Hawkes or whoever it may be, Matt Goss, whoever it is, if there's a pause, listen. Now, you've got to feel that. You can't have a 2-second pause on live radio because people would think there's something wrong with the connection, just turn over. So that's my plan anyway. You've got to keep it rolling. You've got to keep it moving.
Of course you have. You mentioned names there. Come on. So we got a name drop. So let's go on to your radio show. So we've become a DJ, and we are at the moment you're New Dawn FM. Let me just tell people. Let me jump in now and tell New Dawn FM. You do your show Monday to Thursday 4 till 6, and Friday 4 to 5. Am I right there?
Yes. And then I do Rock Radio UK.
Rock Radio Monday 10 p.m.
No, Rock Radio UK is Friday 5 until 7.
Friday 5 to 7. I'm going to shoot my researcher now.
I only told that 28 times. But they're two different shows, New Dawn and Rock Radio, because Rock Radio is kind of like where my background is. It's sort of a bit punky, a bit rocky, a bit new wavy. You know, there's a lot of hard stuff in there. I love that. But New Dawn is a drive time show. So even though I have guests from the punk and rock world, you can't have 2 hours of just like, 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got to have things. You've got to shove a little bit of Madonna in there and some 60s stuff. I mean, I'm still learning as I go along. But I had throughout my career, Cathy, I've been interviewed on that side of the microphone thousands of times. Now, especially during the 80s, like if I was on TV in Spain, Italy, Germany, France, Belgium, you'd have to fly there. There was no Zoom, so you'd have to fly to these places. There was no mobile phones then. But now you can do these things very easily. But I've been interviewed hundreds of times on that side of the microphone. Now, I had my book out, I Was the King of Spain, and I was interviewed by the great Dawn Parry at newdawn.fm, and she said, "You're quite funny. Come on the next day." So I went on the next day, only through Zoom. Then she said the next day, I think for about 6 days running, then she said, "I've got an opportunity for doing a show on a Tuesday afternoon. Do you fancy giving it a go?" So now, you know what, so if you say, "I'll phone you back," it's gone. So say yes. I said, yes. I drove to her studio in Bristol every Tuesday, and for about 12 weeks, and then out of the blue, they said, "We've got thousands of people all over the world think you're funny. Do you want to try the drive time show?" So I just said, yes. So they sent 2 engineers up, put all the equipment in here. I'm a drummer. Anything with a plug on it, I'm knackered. And they put all this equipment in, and they just said, "Right, 4 o'clock, press that button there, and off it goes." So I must have done 350 shows now from this very seat.
Wow.
I had no intention of being a radio DJ at all. It just happened. But I had no intention of being an author. It just happened. You know, it's like I was interviewing Clive Langer. You know, he produced loads of stuff. He produced Bowie. He produced The Madness. And he wasn't going to be a producer. He fell into doing a demo for The Madness, which turned out to be Prince, Buster. He sold the heat. He produced that as a demo, and it became a hit. And all of a sudden, he went down that route. And that wasn't his plan. You don't know what's around the corner in life, Cathy. You really don't.
You don't. No, you don't. And like you say, you let an opportunity go, it could be gone forever. So you might as well, even if you grabbed it, you've done one show and it was a complete shit show, and you think, "Oh, that was rubbish. I won't do that again." Oh, well, you gave it a try.
Yes. Well, if I'd have said, when they phoned up and said, do you want to do the drive time show? If I said, I'll phone you back, I'll have a think. They're not waiting for me. They're phoning up the next person. So this is my mantra in life, Mr. Grant. Just say yes and then worry about the ramifications afterwards. Because you just honestly... Well, that's what I think. And now, since I had my own radio show, I've been I do a thing called Jukebox Judgment with Steve Lillywhite and Steve James and a few other massive producers. And then I thought, well, we'll have our own record out. And a fella called Johnny Kopp from a band called Love Parade, he just phoned us up out of the blue and said, I've written you a song, Griff. So he came onto my show. Me and Michele went down to the studio in Devon, run by a fella called Steve Tanton, who's the drummer for Tiny Temper. And we just done this for...
Is this the Christmas song?
No, this is the first one we did, which is before the Christmas single.
Okay.
We had this single out, and that went really well. So I said to Michele, should we do another one? So I got hold of my mate Barry Upton, who's responsible for the band Steps, and he was in Brotherhood of Man. And I said, write us a summer song. So he wrote a thing called Go Go Coco, which again made waves. And then I got hold of Smiley Barnard and said, we want a Christmas single. So we worked on a Christmas single. That became #1. Now, all of these things weren't planned. It's just, if we didn't, and I always say this to Michele, if I don't get off my arse and do it, no one's going to do it for you. Just give it a go.
Exactly right.
And we've got this new single coming out now, which is the 5446. It was no great plans. The video's fantastic. We've got loads of people joining us on the chorus. I don't know where this is going to go. We're just enjoying it and having a bit of fun with it.
Exactly. How do you find? So you left, because when you were obviously in the music industry, I won't say many years ago, because then that lets everyone know we're not we're young at heart. But you were in the music industry a fair way back, and then you kind of re-entered it. How much of a change did you see in how things work, how things are done? Because technology's moved on and is bloody confusing for an old git like me.
Absolutely. I was in the music industry from like 77, 76, 77 right way through to like the late 80s. And back in those days, we were signed, for example, we were signed to Arista, and I was getting something like 60 grand a year for myself. There was massive advances there. There was record companies who had A&R departments, they had press departments, they had strike forces, and everything's so different now. I mean, I was sponsored by Tama, because if I was on TV or in a magazine, if I said I played Tama kits, I get all these kits for free. Everything was different then, and I was just picked up in a car and taken to the airport to do a radio show in Spain, or taken to do a live gig in Malta. I didn't have to organise anything, but now you have to do all this shit yourself, and it's hard work. There are no advice. I don't think people are really selling records anymore, because you have to have the Spotify hits. I think it's 30,000 Spotify hits to make 2p. That's why all the bands that I know, like XTC and the members and all the people that you've had on your show, are getting out there and doing live work, because they have to earn their money through merchandising.
Yeah, that is the difference now, isn't it? It's got to be live shows, merch. You just don't.
You can make a record now on one of these, Cathy, can't you? Make a record on your phone. But there's some of the bands that I see. There's a band called the Hornets. There's a band called Laurie Wright, who's brilliant at the Sharp Class. There's still young guys out there that are, foot on the monitor, giving it loads, playing all the small clubs that we played and I played. There's still rock and roll still out there, so you've got to find it. Get out there and support some live music. But yes, after coming back to the music industry, I have a furniture company, which I sold quite successfully many years ago. Everything changed. Everything was different in the music industry. I mean, for example, there would have been 12 to 15 live venues that I could access from my home, and now there's none. So even just from the grassroots, everything's changed in the music world.
Yeah, because you were right going back. I know we're jumping back again, but you were obviously right at the heart of it with the Croydon punk scene, weren't you?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we were kind of the second wave, so we were like on the coattails of the Damned and the Mopeds, but we had a film out called Are They Hostile? And we had the album came out through Damaged Goods. Now, I went to see the Slits film Here to Be Heard at the Great David Lean Cinema, and at the bar I turned around. There was a mate of mine called Mark Williams. Now, Mark Williams, he's an independent filmmaker, and I just oh hello mate, and he said oh no, I hadn't seen him for 40 years, and I said should we make a film? And he said yes. And all of a sudden, we started this film, and with the Are They Hostile? Was all the bands that were big in that time. We've done a documentary about them, like the Mopeds, Case, Marty Love's band, Marty Parrott's band, Case, the Bad Actors, and all, the back of the Fanatics, the Marines. All of these people have carried on with the music industry, and they're still in it at some level somewhere. Like, for example, there's a mate of mine called Brett Martini, who was in a band called the Marines. He's in the film with us. He became the bass player of Voice of the Beehive, and he's been doing that for 42 years now, I think. They've got a new album coming out in 2 weeks' time. Yeah. So the Croydon music scene is responsible for a great deal of stuff. I've just been in the Museum of Croydon had an exhibition about Are They Hostile? And I'm in it. So there's Kirsty MacColl in one cabinet, Desmond Decker, Ralph McTell, who wrote Streets of London, Captain Sensible, and there's me. How did that happen?
Wow! Because you're a superstar, megastar. Hey, for Griff! Hey! Sorry, if anyone doesn't know why I'm doing that, if you listen to Griff's radio show, he has a proper taped round of applause, but I'm shit at
technology. I took my mum and dad. Thanks for joining in there, Ashley. I took my mum and dad with Michele with one else to have a look at the exhibition because they're proud that their son's in a museum. And we're looking about there was a school trip there. There must have been about 30 kids all doing a little, they do those little questionnaire things. They're only about 11, maybe younger, 10. And Michele said, "See that bloke there with the long hair?" And there's a picture of me looking all moody. And they said, "That's him." They said, "That's not you, mate. That's not you." But they're all following me around asking me questions. It's a lovely thing. I think there was about 17,000 people went to this exhibition throughout the course of a year, which is great. I mean, Croydon has given a lot to rock and roll because it was the first ever punk record with New Rose. The great Brian James just left us, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. R.I.P. Brian James very recently, last week. Sadly missed. As a huge damn fan, I couldn't believe that news.
But Johnny Moped is still going. I mean, they're still Slimy Toad and Rob Brooke. They're still all mates of mine. In fact, they're recording a live album this weekend. Did you know that?
I did not know that. Exclusive here on Reignite.
Yes, down at the Albert in Brighton. I think if you go down there, buy yourself a ticket, you'll be on their live album. I know. I feel there's still a few tickets left. Yes.
There's a lot of stuff goes on at this Prince Albert in Brighton, isn't there? See, I've never been, but I'm always seeing there's a heck of a lot happens down there.
Oh, wait, we were there last weekend. Now, Marty Love, the drummer from Wingmen and Johnny Moped, he's been a mate of mine since we was like 16. Now, I've followed his career through various guises. Now, he's a fantastic drummer. He played on stage with a band called the Witch Doctors recently, and he started a new project with Maxine, a fellow called Carla Engelmark, and a couple of other guys. Yeah, the Six, yes. Now, we went to see their opening gig, and it was fantastic. I've been playing their song Shadows, and I had their new single as my record of the week. I think they're fantastic. It's a bit removed from the punk rock scene, but they were brilliant. And Maxine on stage, she was on fire, mate. And I think we were there at the birth of something great. That's what I think, and I'm certainly hoping that's true.
Yeah, no, they were absolutely belting because I heard when you playing it. I think it was when Ash was on your show. You played the single Shadows. Absolutely amazing voice and stunning lady. But they are quite something. We've had Max and Marty on the show. I think Max might be watching. She said she was going to tune in. So
we're starring in their video. They've got a new video coming up, which we're being recorded this weekend. I can't say too much about it, but apparently I'm the love interest to Max.
Oh, this I have to see.
Yeah, I know. And because Michele with one else says, "Oh, Maxine's beautiful. How can I be the love interest and take you away from Maxine?" I said, "It's a video, babe. You look great." But we're all friends together, and if you can't help somebody out, I'm no big shakes to rock and roll, but if I can promote it a little bit and she can promote me a little bit, because we're all in it together, Cathy, aren't we?
That's the thing. That's what we're all here for. Whatever anyone's doing, we all help. Because as you say, how the music industry's changed, it ain't the same as it used to be. So we've all got to pitch in and help our mates out. Which brings me to your upcoming EP. We will jump back and talk about the Christmas single, but that's one of the reasons you're here, because I understand now Tony Smith at Sounds of the Suburbs record shop did put something out on Facebook saying available now for pre-order. This EP
Yes, indeed.
5446, which my first question before you start telling us about it is, why is it called 5446? And then you can just go off on one and tell us all about you, Michele with one L, the record, whatever you like. Go.
That's like firing a starting pistol for me, darling. You know that. Well, 5446. Now, I'm in a band called Circa 79. Okay, I'm in a band called Public Service Announcement. My new band, a rock band, but I'm in a band called Circa 79. We're a covers band, and we play new wave punk, and we're absolutely brilliant. We do it for fun. It's a paid hobby. Now, one of the tracks we do is a cover of Toots and the Maytals, a ska tune, 5446. So I said, well, why don't we do it? But they didn't want to do it. So I said to Billy Whistle, my bass player, I said, why don't you and do it then? So I got hold of Smiley, and I'm now singing it. It's a cover of a Toots and the Maytals track, and it's absolutely rocking. The way that Smiley's produced this, and I'm singing on it with Michele, and all the bands that are featured, they're bands from the mod ska world and people that have been on my show. Let me just kind of read out the list.
Oh, please do, please.
We've got the fantastic Sharp Class, who are brilliant. We've got a band called the Hornets. We've got a band called the Vols. We've got Dirty Strangers, Alan Clayton, the Dirty Strangers. We've got my old band, Ghost, my jam tribute band. We've got AKA the Syndicate, who are brilliant. We've got the Witch Doctors. We've got Chris Pope from the Chords UK. We've got Johnny Cop from Love Parade. We've got a chap called Damien Madison, who's a brilliant songwriter. We've got the Dear Boys, who one of them lives over in LA. And we've got the great Billy Whistle. So I asked them to join us on vocals. They all said yes. So they're all singing the chant in the background there. And again, it's one of those things that I got hold of my mate Ian Carley, who's a brilliant video director, and he just said, yeah, I'll come along with it. And he's all putting in favours, and all of a sudden we got hold of Tony Smith, and it's coming out on red vinyl. It's a 4-track EP, and it's just one of those things again, Cathy, that it just kind of happened. You know, but why not? It's only a limited edition amount that's being done. I think we're going to have some kind of launch party soon. The video is going to be premiered, I think, on Viva La Rock or Punctuation, one of the two. But it's just one of those things that it just happened again. And I'm really proud it has. I mean, Michele, was talking to Michele only this morning, because she is a rock chick, but she'd never been on stage until she met me. She'd never been in the studio. And she said that this musical journey is crazy with you, Griff, because I'm quite full on, as you can see. But she said the musical journey is crazy. But it's one of those things. We're not setting the world on fire, but we're having some fun with our lives. And just get that, and like we said before at the top of the show there, Cathy, just get out and enjoy yourself, man. Get out there and do some stuff with your life. You know, don't be that person that said, oh, I was going to write a book. You know, I had no intention of being an author, Cathy, until COVID hit. And then you sit there and I wrote all of these stories down, all these true stories that happened to me, put it out there to a couple of publishers, and 2 of them bit. That, you know, wanted to write stuff about the shit that I've been up to in my life, and when I look back at it, it's crazy. And
you so far, I mean, Christ knows what's next with you, but my God, you're living a life. So now we're going to jump to the book there. We have to jump to the book, because we've mentioned a few things from this book already about the getting run over twice and so forth, but there are a million other stories in this book. I think we put the link down in the show description, so don't go and look at it now, anybody, because you're still listening to Griff, and he's got a lot more to say. But when we finish, I think the link is at the bottom in the description. But where else can they get I Am the King of Spain from? And tell us, why is it entitled I Am the King of Spain? And
you can get that from
share.
Right, you can get that from any good bookshop, Waterstone, Smith's, anywhere like that, but you can get it on Amazon, anywhere like that. Now, what happened was, I had my own furniture company. I was working my ass. I was working far too much. I was working 7 days a week. I mean, I had a nice house, nice car, all that stuff, but I went insane. And one day I started giving all my stuff away in the shop, sitting on this, what I called a throne. It was just a chair. I thought I was the King of Spain. I thought I was actually a Mediterranean monarch. So I went off to kill myself. It was all very dark, Kath. And then I went into an institution, and they tested me for drink and drugs. And there was none. So if there had been drink and drugs inside me, they would have said, oh, right, that's the issue. Now we deal with that. But it wasn't. So I have some kind of bipolar, which I can keep myself. I'm okay with it now. But that's where the King of Spain came from. So when I came out of the Priory, after being in there for a long time, I I had a few bob because I sold my business. I was just milling about doing nothing. My mate of mine said, look, you need direction. So he said, go on this comedy course. So I went on this comedy course, thing called Amuse Moves, and I used that terrible dark period of my life when I thought I was as a Spaniard, and because I look nothing like a Spaniard, look at me, look. So I used that dark period of my life to become a comedian, and it kind of cleansed me. And I was a comedian for 5 years, and part of my act was I was the King of Spain. And through that, I got a couple of TV roles, a little bit of acting again, and some narration for books and bits and pieces. And I've done 3 Edinburgh shows, but I got to comedy quite late in life. I was 41, I think, about that. And of course, most comedians were 10, 15 years younger than me. But I met so many people, because once you become a comedian, it's almost like going to Vietnam, going to war. You've all got a common bond, because it's terrifying on stage on your own. So I've all of my, for example, in my last video, I've mates of mine, Joe Wilkinson, from the BAFTA award-winning comic, Joe Wilkinson is in 8 out of 10 Cats. Henning Vane, the German comedy ambassador. There's quite a few of my comedy mates in there. Nick Coppin, Pam Ford. I've had Simon Brodkin on my show. The Lee Nelson character. I've had loads of comedians on my show, because that's what I did for a living for 5 years. And you all know each other. But that's where the King of Spain come from. And I thought, well, through lockdown, I thought, well, I'll write all these stories down, and I wrote down, and they are quite funny, even though I say it myself. It goes from, I think, the opening page says, I got banned from my youth club for eating a tadpole. And then it goes all the way through to, yeah, I know, crazy, isn't it? All the way through to having a fight with Rick Astley, and then all of these and lots of stuff in between. And my publisher.
Would you fight cuddly little Rick Astley? Oh, bless him. Oh, Griff, cuddly little Rick.
I have shared this story a few times, but I was in Monaco with my dad at some event, because my dad was the manager of my bands, and I'm walking down the stairs in this big hotel. Rick Astley's walking up. Now, he was with the girl singer model that fronted that band, right, a black box, right on time.
Right on time, yeah.
So as I'm walking down the stairs, he's walking up, and this girl's ding my ponytail, because I had long hair. She went ding dong, and I said, don't ding dong me. Turn around, it's Rick Astley. So I sort of give him a bit of a dig, and he's digged me back, and we started fighting. And all I thought was, I can't let my dad see me being beaten up by Rick Astley, because my dad was watching. So I'm rolling downstairs having a punch up with Rick Astley, and he's getting a few digs in. And I was a boxer. I know how to fight. But anyway, I'm getting a few digs in. And we got to the bottom of the stairs. And it was split up by 2 members of Aswad. Smoking, because you can smoke inside them. No violence, man. No violence, man. Now, even if you wanted to make that up, you couldn't make that up, could you?
I was going to say that expression of you couldn't make it up is built for you, isn't it?
Now, this is the story, Cathy. Now, many years later, I'm out in the music industry, and I'm driving along with my wife, my first wife. Now, because I've shared that story with loads of people, because it's a great story. And Rick Astley's on the radio, right? And he's doing this phone-in about him in the 80s. Sorry to
interrupt you, but did you see that comment that just came up from Anders in Sweden?
Oh, right.
Having a bust up with Rick Astley, you're his superhero. Thank you, Anders.
I'm in the car, and Rick Astley's on the radio, right? And Rick Astley's doing this phone in, and my wife says, phone him up and see if he remembers having a fight with you. And I thought, I can't, because if I phone him up and he says, no, you don't remember, it would make me feel that big. Because to me, it's a big part of my little world having a fight with Rick Astley. It really is. But to him, he might have a fight every weekend. I don't know. And this is good. Do you remember having a fight with me? He goes, no. My wife would think I was a liar. My whole world would crumble. It's a brilliant story. It happened to me, but he might. Do you know what I mean? To me, it's important. It's not every day you have a rumble with Rick, is it?
Well, no, he's not the first person you think of having a punch up with, is it? Never going to give you up.
I think if we were put face to face in the ring, I could take him. That's what I think.
But
right. I was because I've fought my whole life. I've been doing karate and boxing. I can have a row if I want to. I'm a pacifist, but I can have it.
Yeah, if you need to do it, if you've got some cute little 80s pop star around, Griff's your man to take him out.
Well, that's a great thing to have in your little in your sack of in your sack of stories, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
When you're at a dinner party, Cathy, and it goes around, so what's the most interesting news thing? Oh, I grew the biggest ever bananas ever. And you, oh, I ran out of petrol on the motorway. And you, I had a fight with Rick Astley.
Read that.
Hey, look, I'm going to take the jacket off. I'll get too hot.
Hello. He's spoiling for another fight. Look at him there. Yeah, guns out, mate. Guns out.
Two reasons for taking my jacket off. One, because I'm getting too hot. And secondly, is to show you my new T-shirt. Look, the boys from Public Service Announcement gave me this only 2 days ago and said, "This is a large, but because I'm an extra medium, you see. So but it fits. It fits. Look.
That's a beautiful thing.
Am I talking too much, Cathy?
No, of course not. Anyone in the comments could put up a comment now. Is Griff talking too much? Answer: no, he's not. Definitely not. Because we're talking about that book, and you plucked out something. But there's a couple of things I plucked out that I was interested in hearing about. Something to do with a sexual encounter with one of Kid Creole's coconuts and saving the life of one of Salt and Pepper. Would you care to elaborate on either or both of those for us, Griff?
Well, I was signed to an American record label called Arista, right? So obviously they had Hall & Oates, the Monkees, Meatloaf, who else they have? Whitney Houston. Anyway, so I was recording an album in Toluca Lake, recording an album over there. And I don't know how, but I ended up going to a party that was hosted by the Pet Shop Boys in Hollywood Hills, right? And I'm staying with you know Don and Dave Was from the Was Not Was?
Yeah.
You know Was. Well, I was working with them, so we're sitting around the swimming pool, or standing around the swimming pool. It's a lovely evening, and loads of people there. And one of Kid Creole's coconuts come bowling over to me. I'm sure she thought I was somebody else. But she started chatting me up. I ended up going out with her.
Oh,
yes. And we were downtown in LA, and we were in this French restaurant. And the geezers come around one of those things. They're like, you know those things.
Yeah. It'll come to me.
I think it's an accordion. So I said, "Do you do requests, man?"
Yeah, accordion.
So I said, "This fella, do you do requests?" And he was all dressed up like a Frenchman. He turns out he was from Bradford or somewhere. He said, "Oh yeah, I'm from Bradford." He was a German one night, and he was a Frenchman another night. So I said, "Can you play Anarchy in the UK on that?" And he said, "Yes." So he ran around the table playing Anarchy in the UK on his accordion whilst I had my French dinner.
Absolutely superb. Oh yes. Oh, fantastic. I saw them once. So I go to Vegas a lot, and you get all these free lounge acts that just pop up, and usually they're sort of you've never heard of their local bands. And one night I was at a free lounge act, and it was Kid Creole and the Coconuts. Oh, bloody good! I enjoyed them. Tremendously.
We had Matt Goss on my show, and he spent 11 years there doing a residency. Do you know that?
Oh yeah, he was always at Caesars. He didn't leave that long ago. Actually, that was fairly recent.
Yes, he was at 11 years. He's now on tour. I think he's starting a tour next month or next week, which we're going to go and see, myself and Michele. But he had 11 years. I think it's one of the longest ever residencies ever. Nearly up there with Frank Sinatra, that kind of thing. Right, so anyway, Salt and Pepper, right? Salt and Pepper. Yeah, I was not a pop star, but I was been in Smash Hits, My Guy, Blue Jeans, all those things. I had a fan club and all that. I never thought I was a pop star, but some people thought I did. Anyway, so I'm at a Smash Hits party at film studios, and there's loads of people around. Everyone's off their tits and out their head, and I'm just standing. I didn't know the two girls, and they're standing just to my right with a few other people, and then out the corner of my eye, I saw one of those massive studio lights falling. And literally, it was all again in slow motion, and it was going to hit one of Salt and Pepper. I don't know which one, because they both were saying to me. And I just pushed her out of the way, and it smashed on the floor, and we all just went, "Oh," and then they just, and then they just walked off, and then we never said anything to her. But yeah, I saved her life, and if he hadn't have done that, he would have hit her on there and killed her.
Do you know, I was just about to say something very inappropriate when you said you didn't know which was which. I was going to say liquor and see what she tasted of, but I shouldn't really say that, should I? Salt or pepper?
You just said that out loud, darling. You've just said that out loud. Now, if I'd have said that, would have been pulled off air. But now you said that, you can get away with it. Your husband's coming in now. Look.
Order.
Don't you have those moments, Griff, where you think it's in my head and I know it shouldn't come out of my mouth, and it just does?
I haven't got a husband or a partner on my shoulder in a little box that comes up and tells me off for it, like you have. You can't get away with anything here, can you? You've You've just said live on air on Reignite podcast that you were going to run a salt of pepper to see what they tasted like, and your husband just came in out of the blue saying, "Calm yourself down, woman."
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, well, let's get him to do a job then. Let's get him to run a ticker tape for us so that we can tell people some important news about Griff and his upcoming gigs. I'm putting him to work now.
Cathy, I bet when you woke up this morning, you never thought you'd be licking one of salt and pepper, did you? I bet that never crossed your mind.
Do you know, no, to be fair, it hadn't actually crossed my mind, but now it won't go out of my mind.
If I ever see him again, that's what I want to do.
Now, look, we put him to work now to stop interrupting us. So we've got Circa 79 up on screen. Tell us about Circa 79 while we scroll all the dates across the screen for people to note down. Oh, and if they miss anything, there are links in the show description, and you can follow Griff on he's always on his Insta, he's always on his Facebook, and you can keep up with it. But tell us about Circa.
Right, well, Circa 79, I was looking to join a band about 2 years ago, but I wanted to play stuff that I like, music that I want to play. It's awful going out there because I've played in restaurants and in places, like cruise ship type shit where you're playing stuff that no one really listens to, but it's a well-paid gig. But I answered an advert, actually, with a brilliant singer called Rob Hooch, and we've been doing this now for about 2 years, 18 months, 2 years, I think. And we basically do cover numbers of all our favourite songs from around that era. We show in some ska stuff, we show in some punk stuff, some new wave stuff, and we put on a show, and we are absolutely brilliant. We only play pubs and clubs, but we don't want to go too far. I've toured and done all that, Cathy, in my life. I'm 61 now. I don't want to go too far. You know what I mean? But we really enjoy what we do. They're always packed nights. We've got people who follow us, and they're just brilliant, fun nights. But I just I've just joined the public service announcement because in the space of 3 days. Yes, in the space of 3 days, I was in a band called The Collective, AKA, just helping out until they found a drummer. So they found a drummer, so I pulled out. Then I dropped out of a band called the Modest Punks. Then my jam tribute band called Ghost. They've been going for 7 years. Peter decided that he wanted to call it a day because he'd had enough. He's now doing some other project. And so within 3 days, that was in 3 days, 3 bands I lost. And on the 4th day, public service announcement got hold of me on my radio show and said, "Griff, can you put it out there to all the people, all your listeners? We're looking for a drummer." So I said, "Don't look any further, mate. I'm joining you." That was 3 weeks ago, and I've joined them. We've had 2 or 3 rehearsals, and it's just rock and roll, and I love every second.
Fantastic. And it's PSA, you write your own stuff. That's not covers. They write their own stuff.
They write their own stuff. I'm very new to the project, though, Cathy. So the new stuff we're working on right now, well, they've had an album out, again, produced by Smiley Barnard. There is I'm going to let it out of the bag. We're doing a cover, right, with do you know Ken Powell? I'm going to let this out of the bag because people are listening. There's a friend of ours called Ken Powell. He's massive in the live music world. He's not a player, but he's a big fan. So we've got public service announcement. I'm going to be his band. We're recording. Smiley Barnard is producing it. We're doing a cover of "Where's Your Mama Gone? Where's Your Mama Gone?"
Oh my God! Yes.
So we're doing a punk version of that. We've got all these people joining us on the chorus: Menace, Red Anger, loads of people that we know. And we're just going to do that just for a bit of fun. We're not expecting to set the world on fire. Just, far, far away. Last night I saw my mama singing a song.
Chirpy, chirpy, He's gonna come on again in a minute if I keep doing that, Griff.
Got Ken Powell and Martin James are singing it. So when he goes, "Where's your mama gone?" we're going to have all of these people from rock bands going, "Where's your mama gone?" In fact, we're going to send you and the great Ashley Grant, we'll send you a WAV or MP3 file. You can join us on the chorus. All you got to do is record and say yes. Would you do that with us?
Absolutely.
I'm in.
Yeah, we're
in. I am in. I will sing for you. Great.
Thank you very much indeed. Now,
because I did another one of those before, because I don't know if you know Ryan Roxy, Alice Cooper's guitarist, is a friend of mine. He redid "Merry Christmas, Everybody." He did that with all of us. He sent a thing out and said, "I'm going to do a video." It was sort of around COVID time. All do a clip of you singing or miming one bit of the song, and I'm in the video for that. So I'm in an important video too.
Your pop star career is going to be taken off when you're singing "Chirpy, Chirpy, Cheep, Cheep."
Oh, yes, please. We would love to do that.
In a song. Oh, it.
Chirpy, chirpy, cheep, cheep. Can I do that? Oh, no, it's more like the birdie song, isn't it? You'll chuck me off for doing that.
No, we're going to get you we're going to get you, Cathy Grant, and Ashley Zane Grant to do some backing vocals. You're going to join us. It's just for fun.
Beautiful. We would be honoured, sir. We would be honoured. Maybe this is a good time before we go to the part of the show where we start doing other stuff and random stuff. Perhaps I should bring him on so you two can have a little natter and have a catch up, because he's been on one of your radio shows and you're old friends. So why don't you just extract me and bring me back when you finish gassing, you two?
Yeah, Ashley,
No problem. No problem. I have no script. I have nothing to say, but I'm here anyway, which is the main thing. How are you? How are you?
Good, mate. Now look, there she goes. Now you've been on my show, mate, and you're going to come on a couple of times. We'll talk about a bit later on. But you have got the most amazing romantic story. Do the people know on Reignite your story about the stereotypes?
We've been on. I'm just showing, though you can't read it. I'm showing I survived the Griffiths show badge, which I got for coming on, and it's true because I'm alive and I'm on the television. What would you like? You like me to tell you the story of the stereotypes? I
think it's fantastic. Now I've played your single Parisian many times, mate, and I'm honoured that you're a mate of mine. I'm honoured to give that airtime. It's just the fact that how that whole thing came about so quickly, because there's bound to be some people that are here listening now that don't know the story. Why don't you tell the story, mate? Come on, son.
Well, thanks so much, Griff, and it's an honour to come on the show, and I'll come on any time and talk all my rubbish. And I've got lots of naughty stories that I didn't say, but I can say another time, like the time I got chucked out of GMTV for smoking a joint with E17.
Oh, I love that story.
Supposed to be a live interview, and we all got chucked out. But you know what it's like. You know.
It's rock and roll, mate.
Yeah. So anyway, so the stereotypes, we formed in 1979. We did one gig, did one single, had a big row and split up. Never spoke again. About 35, 40 years later, I'm contacted by Detour Records, Dizzy Holmes, and says, that single you did back in 1979, do you know it's the rarest punk single of the era? It's worth £1,500 a copy. And I thought, but it wasn't very good. Why? But anyway, because it's a collector's items, I did have a few that I sold and went to Vegas, but no one needs to know that. Nevertheless, he said to me, if you can find the rest of the band, we'll do an album. And I said, I've got to be honest, I haven't spoken to them for 35 years. They might be dead for all I know. Amazing. Yeah.
You hadn't spoken to these boys since you split up, haven't you, all those years?
Not one word.
And never crossed paths?
Never. And amazingly, I tracked them all down. We did an album called Forward, and that came out a couple of years ago. And we're working on our next album. And our next gig is at the Guildford, how do you say it? Holroyd.
Yes, Holroyd. Very well. I know the Guildford Holroyd.
Yeah, we're at the Guildford Holroyd Arms on April the 25th at 7:00 with James Stark and Rage DC. So come along and see the stereotypes. We'll be playing songs from '79. We'll be playing songs that we wrote last week.
Wow. That's such a great story. So what did they say to you when you phoned them up? Your old band member said, "Hi, Ashley here." They'll say, "What do you want? What's going on?"
Yeah, basically, when I spoke to people, they just sort of said to me, well, yeah, whatever, mate. I don't even remember doing that. And amazingly, we got them all in the studio and we started playing, and it was just like 1979. And by the end of the rehearsal, the first rehearsal, we were arguing again.
No, is that a true story?
That's a true story.
Didn't you also tell me that you're going to be in the Guinness Book of Records, or was that something?
Oh, yeah. We're the world's laziest band, by the way. It's the longest gap between a debut single and debut album, 42 years.
That is I tell you what, you should wear that. You should wear that with pride, mate. With pride. That's a great.
Yeah. I'm getting kicked up the arse here, so I'd imagine she needs to come back on.
The world's laziest. I don't think you're lazy, Ashley, mate. I think you're a work of genius, and the world's a better place for you in it.
Nearly as good as having you in the world. Right. On that note, on that bit of whatever you want to call it, I will disappear. I may turn up again. Who can say?
Excellent, mate. Oh, he's gone. That's just me.
I kind of feel like I'm breaking up a love affair going on here with you two. Michele with one L. Michele with one L will have something to say.
Great story, though, isn't it? The whole band, and he hadn't spoken to those boys for nearly 40 years. I think that's the romantic story.
Yeah, but to me, Griff, the best part of it was when we found out we had a couple of copies of the single. It meant I could have another trip to Las Vegas. So I'm happy.
He wasn't joking. Then you sold those online.
Yeah.
Wow. Has he got any more left?
I don't think so, unfortunately.
Every cloud's you don't know what's around the corner, darling.
I'll tell you what, you've never seen me get a ladder out and shimmy up into the loft to look through a box of records as fast as I did when he told me how much they were worth. Right up a drain pipe.
Yeah, up and aqueduct, absolutely. So how's this going? Are we doing all right?
Oh dear, we seem to have hit the hour mark. Oops, sorry everybody. It was never going to happen, was it? So I'll tell you what we'll do. We're at exactly an hour, so that's a good point to summarise the things that people need to know and remember and buy and be aware of about you before we move on to our other bit. So when can people listen to you and on which radio shows? Tell us again.
I am live on newdawn.fm Monday through to Thursday at 4 till 6, and I'm live on Fridays at 4 till 5. Then I'm live on Rock Radio UK 5 till 7 on a Friday. Now they are all available on catch up. I think there's been some issues with the New Dawn catch ups, but everything will be available on catch up as well. We got my new single coming out, 5446, coming out on all platforms on the 30th of March. You can get pre-order copies now, signed red vinyl copies, signed by myself, Michele, and Smiley Barnard, who's the producer. They can get those from Tony Smith's Sounds of the Suburbs record shop. The great Tony Smith. The music industry needs people like Tony, because do you know Tony, Cathy? The music industry needs people like Tony. He's a great supporter of live music. He's a great supporter of the scene. You can get your copies from him. I'm working on my second book right now, which the working title is From Mud to Madness. I don't know when that's going to be out, but there's still a bit of work on. And you can see all of my bands, the Circa 79, at all the venues that were shown at the bottom of the screen. Absolutely splendid. Yes, Tony Smith is a splendid chap. We met him at one of the gigs, Stereotypes and Torpedoes, who I must mention, who are an amazing band who we absolutely adore. They did a double-header gig and Tony was there then. And how fabulous that there's an independent record shop. God, I miss all the record shops we used to have on the high street. Yeah. Tony does a great thing called his in stores, where he gets established bands and also younger up and coming bands to play live in his shop. Now he's got one there on Sunday, which I'm going to. A band called MC16. Do you know MC16? I forget their tune. I've been playing them. Well, over at Tony Smith's Sound of the Suburbs in Ruislip on Sunday, myself and Michele will be there, because we are going to be listening to the test pressings of 5446. Yeah, it's all exciting. Wow, big weekend coming up. Yes, indeed. Yeah, well, like we say, we're doing Smiley Barnard's album launch tonight. We've got Maxine Tallulah's film, a video on Saturday. So we're busy. Yeah, but it's brilliant, isn't it? Because like you say, with the way the music industry's changed, for anybody starting out, it is so hard now. And going out to a live gig and seeing these, us talking here, you've now given me somebody else to listen to. We've a mutual friend of ours, Paul Bedford from Kick Down the Doors PR, who has brought to my attention lots of new bands. I mean, we've had Torpedoes on here, we've had Lives, who are an amazing band, on here, all people that I've never heard of, but from connecting with him, we got to meet them and have their, it is all interconnected. And like you said before, all of us sticking up and sorting each other out and supporting each other. Absolutely. It's the only way music's going to keep going, because it is getting harder and harder out there. It is. I've had Lives live on my show. I've had Crime Wave on my show. I've seen Lives live, and they're fantastic. I tell you, he's got an interesting story, because he lives in Biarritz, doesn't he? He does. Yeah. Have you seen Torpedoes live? No, I haven't. No, I think I've heard them. I haven't seen them live. Oh, you must. I'm pretty sure. I'll just look across the room. Are you not doing some dates with Torpedoes, with the Stereotypes?
Yeah, possibly July the 12th.
Oh, July.
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, the Lens.
The Lens in Portsmouth, July the 12th. There might be a double header with Stereotypes and Torpedoes. We'll have to see where you're up to on that date. Maybe we can have you down for that.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, I have been doing quite a lot of, Cathy. I've been doing quite a lot of comparing, which is quite nice. You just go along and you introduce the bands. Because I was a professional comedian, I can hold an audience. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying that part of it as well. Again, you just don't know what's around the corner. Just get out there and have some fun, really. That's all.
But I think something to take away from what you said before about, obviously your mental health issues, writing the book and then getting into comedy. What an inspiration for people, because potentially that, it's a life-changing situation. It could have gone really badly wrong, but you used that and turned it around, and that is something that you should feel so proud of, and that would give a lot of people inspiration in a situation like that. So I don't usually put a serious hat on, but seriously, mate.
Here's the thing, Cathy. I have people come to our gigs, our shows, Circle 79, and also to some of the book launches that I did back in the day, and people want me to sign the books, and I've had at least 3 people in the last 10 days. Yeah, probably, yeah, saying that I have been an inspiration. I didn't realise I was any inspiration. It's just that was my journey. But, if I can do that journey, but I was in a terrible, I got divorced. I didn't see my son for a while. My whole world fell to pieces. I thought I was somebody else. I had mental issues. I had to lose a load of weight because I put weight on. Everything was working against me, but I've combated that shit. And, I'm here and I'm fighting. Well, I had my old boxing coach, who I hadn't seen for 14, 15 years. I had him as a guest on my show. Now, he's an ex-paratrooper, so he's a killer, but he's now a personal trainer. He came onto my show as a guest. He looked at me because I was nearly 20 stone. I was 19 stone 7. And he said, you are going to have a heart attack. He said, you're going to get diabetes. Your knees are going to go. And I said, well, and he said, look at the state of you. What have you done to yourself? This was last year. So he said, come with me. So we went to him, and he'd done it for nothing. Because he wanted the promotion as well, but he wanted to help me and Michele. So we went every day for 5 months, and we'd lost a shitload of weight. I've lost nearly 4 stones. I'm still going to the gym now, and I don't drink so much. And I can't praise him anymore. But Martin Dilworth, a hard fitness PT up in Hamsey Green, is absolutely fantastic. And not just him, his team, but I couldn't have done that on that journey on my own. I needed him to kick me up the backside, because he's an ex-military man. If you don't do what he says, he makes sure you do, but in a nice way. He's not a bully. But now I'm feeling good. The weight's still coming off me. I'm feeling good. My knees feel good. All my I'm positive. It's a positive thing. Because here's the thing, though, Cathy. Sorry to talk too much, but I have to keep busy, Cathy. If I'm not busy, I fall into a big, dark depression. I have to have loads. I don't mean going on holidays. I mean projects, keeping myself active. Get up in the morning. I have to walk my dog. I go to the gym. I've always got to keep busy. That's why I've got 2 radio shows and records out. If I don't do that, I fall into a dark hole. But that in itself brings its own aggravation, because I'm bloody knackered. I'm running, I'm chasing my own tail. But if I don't do that, I'm sitting there going, oh my God. So, I had a friend of mine on who I went to school with. He was in a band, and they just had an album out, actually, and he joined me here. Now I haven't seen him for 40 years. He's a professor of mental health. And when I said this to him, he said he recognizes that issue, because lots of people that he deals with have that same problem. I've got to keep busy, but I'm knackered. If I'm not doing it, so it's trying to find that balance constantly. It's trying to find that balance. I've got my elderly parents. I'm not their carer, but we're all in a family together. I've got my dog, I've got my girlfriend, I've got all the projects going on. My son lives in Germany. His wife's about to have a baby. And I want to try to keep in contact with all my friends, but you have to keep busy. You have to keep going, man.
Yeah, keep the plates spinning and the balls juggling, but yeah, it is a balancing act. I get that, but just take the credit for the fact that you turned around everything and what you made of your life because of a potentially disastrous situation. So another round of applause for Mr. Griffiths, please.
Cathy, that's put a tear in my
eye. Hooray! Yay!
Seriously, because you carried on talking there, and I thought you need to take some credit, because people hearing your stories will take inspiration from it. So Fair play to you, mate.
I certainly hope so. Like when I was in the Priory, I was in this, and it's not a prison. You know, I had private health insurance because I had quite a successful business. But there was a guy in there, and he tried to kill himself one night. I'll share it. It's not a horrible story. I'll share it. Now, he slit his wrist, and he was a Palace fan, right? So I got my keys, and I knew he was coming back. And I went up to the Palace shop and I bought him a shirt and a card. I left it on his bed. There's a Palace shirt. So the Palace, Crystal Palace, my team, I've got too few followers. One less is a travesty. Don't do that again. And he came into my room and he cried. He said, that's the loveliest thing that anyone's ever done for me. I think that's in the book as well, Cathy. Now, I'm not trying to say, but I just treat people how you want to be treated yourself.
Exactly. You know, sometimes it is. It's a little gesture that you think is one little thing, but it can mean the absolute world to somebody else.
Absolutely. You know, try to be kind to people, try to be nice. I don't know. Yeah, but thank you very much indeed for saying that. I don't think I'm an inspiration to anybody, but it shows that I can, if I can get off my arse and try to make a success with something after coming from a terrible, terrible place, you know, maybe other people can.
Yeah. No, that will definitely help other people. I've seen comments coming up, and I know people are going to be messaging me after the show saying that fair play to you. Now we've been positive. We've turned around a difficult situation into something positive. Now we're going to have a rant of the day. Now, there's sometimes it's things that you get a bee in your bonnet about something, and it's nothing major, and it's nothing, you know, like we say, there's more important things in this world, and it's really not important. Now, I had one, but then just before I came on air, something happened, and I thought, no, I've got a different rant today. Adverts on television. Adverts on bloody television. Now, we're of a similar age. Adverts used to be really creative, really fun. They used to have jingles that you remembered. If I said to you, Club Biscuits.
Yes.
Chocolate on it. Right, a finger of fudge. A finger of fudge, just enough. Yeah, there you go. You see, you remembered the product. Adverts come on television, they go on and on and it gets to the end and you go, what the bleeding hell was that advert for? Or worse still, they destroy good songs. And my one at the moment that really drives me insane is there is an advert, and again, it's so brilliant, I have no idea what it's for. Toto's Africa, a beautiful song, and it literally comes on and I cringe with what they have done to this beautiful classic song.
They do that, and there's always someone with breathy like this, with a song like that. It's like, get out of here. Don't sell that in that voice.
Or they do this deliberate singing out of tune thing. And I'm thinking, why do you think this is a good advert? Because all it makes you do is just turn the television down and then you're not listening and you don't know what they're advertising. So my rant of the day is crappy adverts.
Do you feel better for getting that off your chest, Grant?
Do you know what? I do. Do you have anything today that's irritated you? Something that, let's face it, in the grand scheme of things is minor, but...
Well, I have the same thing every day. People that drop shit out of their cars outside my house, and it happens daily. I've filled a whole bin up, right, from people. There was a couple of lads dropped their shit out, and I said, fellas, put your rubbish. And they said, they wouldn't have fight me. Would you want some? Do you want some? I said, no, don't worry about it. I'll put it in the bin. I'm not going to start fighting people for that. But if I didn't do that, there would be tons of shit outside my house. That is my rant, and I hate it. And Michele, it gets on Michelle's nerves. I say, look at that rubbish there. It's so unavoidable. I would never dream of doing that. I don't know if it's big put up the right way, but I would never dream of having a burger, for an example, and just driving around and throwing the shit out. I wouldn't dream of that. I've been known to go up the woods and take my little bag, and because I walk my dogs every day, and I don't want to see them getting caught in a bean tin wrapper or whatever it is. Anyway, right, listen to us two. This isn't rock and roll.
I like that. No, I like that. We're the same. We go around picking up bits of litter. There's a group around here called the Wombles, and they go around and put stickers on bags and pick up everyone's rubbish. Good rant.
It's unavoidable, isn't it? It's so unavoidable.
Oh, no. Right, we've got two other things we need to do with you before, because it's looking at me going, look at the time.
I haven't got a time thing here. I haven't got a clock. We've been going for an hour.
Hour and a quarter.
No. And they turn it off his jokes.
The 50p in the meter's going to run out in a minute.
Where are you coming from? You're coming from Essex. Is it Essex you are?
No, we're in Lincolnshire. We moved to the rural Lincolnshire area a year and a half ago. Very lovely it is.
You enjoyed it up there?
Oh yeah, I like a bit of country living, fields and stamping about in the woods and things like that. I like a bit of that.
Do you miss the London lifestyle?
Nah, I think, do you know what it is? It doesn't take very long before you kind of go a different pace of life, and you sort of, now I go into London, I'm sort of like, ah.
I totally get that. I totally get that. Well, London again, the gigging scene in London's changed. You can't park outside venues. You can't go down one way. It's very difficult for a young band to get their acting gear to do gigs in London anymore. You know, you've got congestion charges at 25 quid because it's going to be £12.15, and then you're going to be finishing late, and you know you ain't going to earn no money. But you've got to learn your trade. And it's difficult. You can't park anywhere. You know, the pubs are getting told off for being too noisy. You know, if someone would buy a flat across the road, for example, a venue, an iconic venue, and trying to get it closed down, but then you bought the flat there, mate. It's been there for 200 years. What's wrong with you?
Exactly. Yeah, you knew what you were buying, you pillock.
Absolutely.
So we're supporting live acts, right? We're going out to gigs, and then we can't park. We're getting the train home, and when you're getting home, you think to yourself, I've had a lovely evening. Now I need to sit down and relax. So what is it that you need when you sit down and relax? Is it tea and biscuits? And if it is tea and biscuits, what is your favourite biscuit? And do you dunk? And do you prefer coffee?
Well, I'm trying my hardest not to eat biscuits, but if I did, I would have a chocolate hobnob. If I hobnob, they are the devil's creation, Cathy Grant. I would have more than one. I'd have a whole packet. And I would eat them. I would, like, for an example, if I went back in the day when I was eating donuts, I would go and get Michele a donut. I would have 6 before I got home. I was just eating too much. But yes, I do like a pot of Earl Grey. I don't have milk in my tea, but if it was a biscuit, it would be a hobnob. But I haven't had biscuits for a long, long time because I don't want to open that floodgate of fatness again.
We were close. I said digestive, and he said chocolate digestive for you. So we were close. Chocolate hobnob. We weren't far off.
Have I got a digestive type face?
Yeah, clearly. It's a classic, isn't it? It's a classic, and we'll think of you as a classic.
Dark chocolate, plain chocolate hobnobs, absolutely love them. Or what are those other ones? Crusty creams, Krispy Kremes. I used to love those.
Crusty creams.
And I would, no, not custard, Krispy Kremes, and I would dunk as well, and they melt in your mouth. But I always leave the tea bag in, so I would have no milk, pour the water on the tea, and leave the tea bag in.
See, I just show my cup of tea the tea bag, and then pour it a gallon of milk and sling out the bag.
Got to get your money's worth. You've got to get your money's worth. Now, I want to. In fact, I was going to do that this weekend. Go and get some of those herbal teas because I want to try to relax a bit more because I'm always hyper. Herbal teas apparently are quite good.
So they say, which will bring us nicely onto our random questions. So this. In the very modern way, is lots of sheets of paper because I don't do modern. Lots of sheets of paper numbered 1 to 64. Yes. And you, sir, I'm going to ask my producer how many questions I'm allowed to ask you. How many are we allowed today, sir? 4. We are allowed for you to pick 4 numbers, and I will fire at you a random question to round out our show.
We'll start with number 4.
Number 4. Oh. What was the first gig you went to, the first LP you bought, and the first single you bought?
The first gig I went to, proper gig, was with my brother. Went to see The Jam, supported by a band called the New Hearts, who turned out to be Secret Affair. That was at the Greyhound in Croydon. I think the first album I bought, it may have been in the city. I can't 100% remember. I remember the first single I ever bought. I remember going across the road when I used to live over the other side of London. It was Judge Dredd, Lucky 7, was it?
Oh.
Yes. You know, hey, diddy dum day, That one I bought Judge, and I met. It was up there, across the road from where I lived. There was a little shop that sold white goods, like fridges and washing machines. And they had a record department in there. You know, one of those booths where you could listen to it. like a little telephone. I had one of them. And I remember buying that, and I was probably only about 8, 71, something. I don't know, but yeah, 8, about 8.
Wow, brilliant, excellent. All right, okay. We are allowed 3 more. What number?
5.
Okay, you are only allowed to eat one food for the rest of your life. What is it going to be?
Pie and mash.
Ah, lovely. Do you know what? Do you know what we're having tonight? I went to Morrison's and they have got a minced beef and onion pie with a suet crust topping that I'm having with mash tonight. How good does that?
I had you down as a vegan, Cathy Grant.
Oh God, no! I'll eat anything, me. I mean, I'll even go around licking pop stars to find out if they're salt or pepper.
Listen, one day I'm going to bump into them again, because the music industry has a way that you find yourself back to where you started. That's how the music industry works. Never fall out with anybody, Cathy, because it's like that. It's like that. So if you fell out, I've been in bands where people say I hate you, but one day you're going to bump into them again. That's how it works. So one day I will be licking salt or pepper at the same time as you.
Now that will be a night out, won't it?
Yeah. I think when one of us might get arrested, we'll end up painting us.
Possibly. Right.
Number 7.
All right. So you've got to give me your favourites off of this list. Favourite ice cream.
Oh, chocolate chip.
Favourite drink.
It used to be Magnus, it used to be cider, but I like a bit of Prosecco now.
Oh, getting you with the Prosecco. Favourite sweet.
Favourite sweet. Oh, I like caramel chocolate. But I haven't had any for years.
Oh, nice. Do you know what I've just gone mad for? I hadn't seen them for years. Refreshers. Do you remember Refreshers? The little sweets.
Refreshers, do they?
Oh, yeah. I didn't think they. I went mental because somebody was saying to me, "Oh, you can't get them. They've discontinued them." And I was hunting everywhere. And we've got a real old-fashioned little sweet shop up here. And I went in and I said, "Don't suppose you've got any because they're discontinued." She went, "No, they're not." And she's got this box. I'm like, "Yes, I have all of those."
You know what Michele One loves? Freddos. You know Freddos? Little chocolate Freddos?
Freddos. Love a Freddo. Do you like the solid chocolate ones or the one with the caramel inside, though?
Oh, it's got to be the solid chocolate. But I didn't know they even made them until I met Michele two or 3 years ago. When she said, "I love a Freddo." And I thought they'd been gone. I thought Freddos had disappeared, but no. Freddos, yeah, she loves a Freddo.
You thought Michele with one hair like some weird perversion. I love a Freddo. You wonder what the hell she was talking about.
She's got loads of weird perversions, mate.
Let's not go there. All right, one more on this. Board game. Your favourite board game?
Oh, blimey. Well, I used to like Monopoly. I'm no good at chess. Michele beats me at chess, but my favourite board game. It used to be Escape from Colditz, but I haven't played a board game for years.
Oh, wow. God, yeah, I remember that. And Cluedo. Oh, that's the one I used to like. I've just started playing backgammon again lately. I haven't played backgammon for years, and I've got right into it.
No, I've never really played backgammon.
Oh, we'll have to come and teach you. We'll have a night out. I'll teach you backgammon, and then we'll go and lick salt and pepper. It'd be great fun.
That's the weirdest proposition I've ever had, and I've had a few.
Right, mate. One more final question.
Number 1, because I want another number 1 with 54-46. Number 1.
All right, number 1. Oh, do you like cheese? And what is your favourite cheese?
Oh, Emmental, yes.
Oh, nice. Oh, very nice. Do you have it just as it is? Do you have it on crackers? How do you have it?
No, just as it is. You know, you get that sliced Emmental, you go in a little packet. I could eat packets of that. But again, that avenue of entertainment has been closed off to me because I've been on such a diet. This weekend, I'm going to put on about 9 stone after this, Miss Grant, because you've done me in. I now want cider, salt and pepper, chocolate, Fritos, and Emmental. Hey,
a little what you fancy does you good.
Prosecco.
My friend, we have overrun horrifically, as I knew we would. We are now coming up to an hour and 25 minutes, so I really should let you go, because do you or do you not have a radio show today? Would you like to remind viewers where they can watch you, listen to you later?
Listen to me on newdawn.fm. I'll be going out live at 4 till 5. Then at 5 until 7, listen to me on Rock Radio UK. And this week I've got a brilliant, it's a drummer's special. I've got Alan Galaxy. Do you know Alan Galaxy from Spiz?
I don't. I'll have to listen, won't I?
He's a drummer from Spiz. I've got a fella called Mark, from the band called the Hornets, and he also drummed for John Otway. Do you remember them? John Otway, really free, really free. I've got a mate of mine called Mark Brabs, who was in a band called Tank back in the 80s. And who else have I got? And I've got a very good friend of mine called Simon Bowley, who's the drummer from Eddie and the Hot Rods. I've got all of those four on my show. It's a drummer's special, because I'm a drummer. They're drummers. What could go wrong? That
is a killer episode. Absolutely fantastic. We'll have to tune in. We will have to tune in. Now, I've been told on here in the comments that we'll have to have a part 2, because I've still got a load of stuff, and we've been having loads and loads of people saying part 2, and bring Michele next time with 1L as well.
Listen, Cathy, it's an absolute honour and a pleasure. I've been trying. It's almost like if I had a bucket list, this would be on it, but I haven't got one. But honestly. Cathy Grant and also Ashley Zane Grant, I thank you so much. He's going to be joining me on my show very soon. Where is he? He's coming. Hey!
Hey! Here I am again. Yes, I will be.
Thank you for helping me out with the technical issues this morning, because I'm shit at this sort of stuff. It's Cathy Grant. Thank you for your time and your questions. And do I say goodbye now?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I would keep you here for about another 5 or 6 hours, but you're a busy man. You've got a lot to do.
I've got 2 radio shows today. Then I've got to drive down to Guildford to be the compere for Smiley Barnard. I think who else is there? Owen Paul. Remember, you're mine. You're my favorite
waste of time. Wow.
Owen Paul's going to be there, so I'm going to be introducing him as well. And I think there's a band called Billy Liberator, and I think there's a couple of other little acts. But Smiley Barnard's album launched, and it's an honour to be invited to do it. And it's been an honour to be on your show, guys. Thank you very much. Well done, you lot.
We have loved having you.
We will speak soon, but yeah, you're coming back, mate. No escape.
Yeah.
What do I do? How does unplug you? How do I say goodbye?
No, you can stay there, and what we'll do is I'll say goodbye to the viewers, and we'll have a quick catch up backstage for a minute as soon as we go off air, because we've got to sort out the details of performing on your song, haven't we? So
yes, no, don't worry, you'll be doing it. You'll be doing it.
Yeah. Any final parting words to our viewers, other than don't surrender?
Stay safe and happy. That's where you got to be.
That's what we like. Griff, you have been an absolutely superb guest. We could talk for hours, but as I said, you've got a very busy day planned and a busy weekend. So we will let you go. I will say farewell to our viewers, and I will see you backstage in just a minute. Thank you so much. Guys, if you enjoyed that even half as much as me, you will be buzzing right now. What a fabulous guest. Thank you so much to Griff Griffiths for being on. So that is us for now. But before you go, if you are new to the show, please subscribe. We would love to have you as a subscriber, and go back and check out our other episodes. But in the meantime, make sure you continue to support musicians, support live music, get out there, go to gigs, buy the merch. We can't do without them, so support them. Thank you all very much for watching. Sorry we overran. We will see you again very soon. I've been Cathy Grant. This is Reignite. Bye for now.
Sorry, I couldn't resist a little bit of fun at the end. We'll all go now. Bye-bye.